desks. Lick the fingers. Wash down the sugar and the salt. Take that drink of water. Put the snacks and the treats and the distractions away. We're going to be pushing it. The end is the best part. We're going to be pushing it to get there by lunch.
Okay, we're ready to start, guys. Wasting time.
Hurry up. I'm not waiting for you. So hurry up. Okay. So in the wire baskets, I've given you 2 handouts. Please take the first one. It's a poem. Leave the other one for now. Just take one. Put your name on the top. We are going to do a poem analysis today. And like I said, I want to go at a decent little clip here because I want to get to the end. It's the best part. The discussion is the best. So we're going to do a little work to get there, okay? Does everyone have a copy of the poem in front of you? Yes? All right, so are you going to click for me?
Yep.
Okay, so before we get to the actual reading of the poem, I want to show you that these are some standards that go with this lesson. Okay, I know you don't care, but teachers do, and principals and district people care. Notice there's a 7th and an 8th grade standard there. You're welcome. You are gifted and talented. All right, next. These are the goals and objectives for today. So to analyze and interpret a text, to develop your thinking, writing, and communication skills in the language arts, and to understand the theme of power, and remember that, related to generalizations within language arts. Okay? Next. So the poem we're going to read today is I Like to See It Lap the Miles, and it is by Emily Dickinson, who lived from 1830 to 1866, and she often wrote her poems as riddles. Okay? She did not like to leave her home. She was a recluse. She was depressed. She had a lot of mental health issues, and she wrote that is reflected in her poetry. And honestly, we did not get access to a lot of her poems until after she died. Boxes of poetry were found in weird hiding places in her apartment and in her rooms. Some even in the walls, like in the cracks in the walls, poems were stuffed. So she is a very, very interesting study. If you ever want to get into some poetry, look at Emily Dickinson. How long did she live? Yes. Yes, there's no guessing.
36.
There you go. So it was a very short life, and she wrote a lot of the most influential American poetry. So if you think about the canon of American poetry, you're going to see a lot of Emily Dickinson. As the poem is read, I want you to annotate, okay? I want you to underline words you don't know. I want you to mark things you find interesting. If you have a question, write a question mark. I want you to annotate. You know how to do that, right? Hello? Hello? You know how to annotate? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. I heard like 25 yes ma'ams, right? Didn't you?
I did.
Okay, good. I thought so. All right, together we will look at understanding the new terms through the context clues of the analysis. So right now, I'm going to read the poem out loud. I want you to put your eyeballs on the word as you hear it. Eyes and ears are doing the same word at the same time, right? Correct? Yes?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, guys, come on. Be in there.
Okay. Have I lost you already? Okay,
No.
let's do better.
You have not.
If I've lost you already, this is not going to work today. So, are you ready?
Okay, sit up, please.
Okay. I like it when you talk to me. If I ask you a question,
Okay,
feel free
sit
to
up,
answer.
please.
Okay. All right, here we go. Eyeballs on the words. I like to see it lap the miles by Emily Dickinson. I like to see it lap the miles and lick the valleys up and stop to feed itself at tanks and then, prodigious, step around a pile of mountains and supercilious peer in shanties by the sides of roads and then a quarry pair to fit its sides and crawl between, complaining all the while in horrid, hooting stanza, then chase itself downhill, and neigh like Boanerges, then, prompter than a star, stop, docile and omnipotent at its own stable door. Make some annotations. Yep, that's right. Good, you're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to read it again.
Okay, we're not being silly, guys.
No, you're going to make that well. Nope. I'm going to read it again. Continue to annotate. We're going to do questions in a minute. Continue to annotate, okay? I like to see it lap the miles by Emily Dickinson. I like to see it lap the miles and lick the valleys up and stop to feed itself at tanks. And then, eyeballs are on the words as you hear them. Eyes and ears, both are reading. The reason for that, please follow instructions. Eyes and ears are reading at the same time. Let me start over. I like to see it lap the miles and lick the valleys up and stop to feed itself at tanks. And then, prodigious, step around a pile of mountains, and supercilious peer in shanties by the sides of roads. And then a quarry pair to fit its sides and crawl between, complaining all the while in horrid hooting stanza, then chase itself downhill, and neigh like Boanerges. Then, prompter than a star, stop, docile and omnipotent at its own stable door. All right, words you don't know. Let's have it. Come on. Docile, gentle, tame, calm. Something that's easily directed or easily led. Docile. If you had that word, make a note. Liam.
Supercilious?
Supercilious is proud, arrogant, really like thinking your stuff don't stink.
So most people should be writing these down by both of those.
Yeah, I like it. I like the notes. Continue to annotate. This poem's yours. You put your name on the top, didn't you? Yes? I hope so, because this is yours. Make it yours.
Wait, what is supercilious?
Proud, arrogant, condescending, snotty, thinks you're better than everybody else. Pramita.
Prodigious.
Prodigious, large, big, important, very memorable for large, big, impressive reasons. Could be good or bad. It's one of those words that has like a connotation depending on the context. It could go either way. Oh my gosh, there's Josiah. Holy, his name was there, like flashed in my brain and then it was gone. What? Boanerges. Okay, so this is it's a word that refers back to, oh gosh, I'm gonna say it wrong. An ancient language. I want to say Latin, but I'm not sure. It means sons of thunder, and it is a name that Jesus gave to his two loudest preacher disciples. So he called them Boanerges, sons of thunder. So you should think a loud, booming preacher voice, like a presence that likes to be heard.
I noticed it's capitalized, being a proper noun.
There's lots of weird capitalization in this poem. That's an interesting observation. Mm-hmm. All right, other words though, Josephine. Prompter. Prompt means to be on time or quick. So if you have a prompt beginning or ending, it is to the minute, on point, does not waver. Prompter than a star. Quick. Fred.
Faster.
Omnipotent.
Omnipotent. Everyone say omnipotent. All powerful. All knowing, all powerful, bigger and stronger than anything else in the whole wide world. Omnipotent.
What is he talking about?
Graham.
That's what you're saying.
P-A-R-E. Thank you. It's not P-E-A-R that you eat. Not that. It's not P-A-I-R like the pair of shoes, as in two. P-A-R-E is a verb, and it means to cut. To cut. To, like if you pair vegetables and fruit, you cut it up. Nathaniel.
Shanties.
Shanties. Okay, so that's a good one. Shanties are little dwellings that people might make in the woods to live in. So a shanty is like a structure, like a tent that a homeless person might make out of cardboard boxes and tarps, and so like something you could live in, but it is not a house, and not even as nice as a shed. A shed would be nicer than a shanty. But like you made it out of sticks and twigs and garbage. Yes. Yes. A what? Other words, Pramita. Quarry. Say quarry. Right. So that is an excavation site where you mine minerals. So it's a huge, ginormous hole, hole in the ground, or maybe a cave or a mine where you would like dig for limestone and harvest minerals out of the earth. So like think a huge, big dig site. Yes. stanza, right. What's a stanza?
Oh.
Lincoln?
Like a line.
Not a line. It's a group of lines. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 stanzas in this poem. Or like a verse of song. A verse or a section of a poem or a song. Okay, Mr. Carson, we're gonna click next. Sorry.
I'm good.
Alright, so click, 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 click. This is what I anticipated. Is that it? One more? Nope, back. Okay. That's what I guessed. That's what I guessed you'd ask. Okay, so there's a
I'll get it. I'll get it. It's 12 o'clock.
Oh yeah, I forgot to pay that. The rules of the mall.
You know when people are running around all over the place.
Alright, everybody got covered
Almost
your notes?
12 o'clock.
You good? Yes, got it? Good enough. Do not write word for word what is up there. As long as you have an idea and you've made a note, that's good enough for me. Okay? Boanerges. Boanerges. Weird word, right? Not gonna lie, I had to learn it myself when I'm looking at this poem. Did not know it before. Okay, I'm gonna read it again now that you know what the words mean. Okay? Because now it's gonna be different now that you know. Alright, so eyeballs on the words when you're done with your notes. Here we go. I like to see it lap the miles by Emily Dickinson. I like to see it lap the miles and lick the valleys up and stop to feed itself at tanks. And then, prodigious, step around a pile of mountains and supercilious peer in shanties by the sides of roads. And then a quarry pair to fit its sides and crawl between, complaining all the while in horrid hooting stanza. Then chase itself downhill, and neigh like Boanerges. Then, prompter than a star, stop, docile and omnipotent, at its own stable door. Alright, let's start with some text-dependent questions. So according to the poem, yes sir? Hold on, keep thinking. According to the poem, does the author enjoy watching this object, and how do you know? Does the author enjoy watching this object, and how do you know, Fred?
Yes.
Why?
In the title is named I Like to See It Laps the Miles.
I like to see that. Yes, that's right. Absolutely. Okay, the next question. According to the poem, does the author like the object itself? That's a different question, right? Does the author like watching it? It's the title of the poem in the first line. Yes. According to the poem, does the author like the object itself, and how do you know? Melis?
I think it, I don't think it does. Because
Why?
it says like horrid hooting stanza, and that's like a kind of
Horrid
loud.
hooting stanza. Does that sound pleasant?
No.
No.
That word choice makes you think, no, that's got a negative connotation. What else?
It says complaining all the while, and if you like something, normally you aren't going to point out the bad things about it.
Absolutely. Complaining, that's not another word with negative connotation. Betty and then Fred. And then Izzy.
So I think it more likes most of the way it acts, not the actual thing. Because like, let's say, I think it likes some parts of it, but some parts it don't like part of it. Like,
Where's that coming from? You're right. I agree with you completely. Why? What makes you say that?
well, like, let's say it would like describe them like they've been watching it and like the way they act a lot, and it doesn't actually describe how they look or how they act.
It's describing actions. So there's lots of observing going on. Okay, Fred?
It says in supercilious Peter and shanties, and shanties you said is worse than a like cover that homeless person would do, and so unless she finds happiness in seeing homeless people in shanties,
And looking like, and supercilious means like arrogant and cocky, right? So like with arrogance peering inside, like, right? That's not nice. So that's not, that again, words that do not bring a positive connotation, which would make you think maybe, no, the author doesn't really, or the speaker doesn't really like that item, right? The thing.
I think that they don't really have an opinion, or like they're just watching overall the way it acts, noting how it acts. They might
the question
like it
is
sometimes, they might not.
Okay, that answers the
And-
question.
they're watching how it's acting towards others and different things.
Okay. Lincoln and then Melis. Nope, answer my question. We're going in order for a reason. Stay with me. But you're getting there. I like that you're jumping ahead. Melis.
The whole poem, it sounds like how my dad feels about my cat. Kind of like,
Which is?
he didn't really like it at first, and he thought it was a kind of a bad idea, and like, he still doesn't really like the cat, but like, he likes it, but he doesn't like it. Like, at some points, like, he'll let the cat sit on his lap and like pet it, and then.
So he secretly likes it.
Yeah.
So, kind of, sort of. Okay, what words make you see? So I hear the conflict. I hear the I think maybe and I think maybe not. And I've heard the words that make you think the negative connotation. Where's the stuff in there that makes you think, but maybe kind of, sort of, yes? What words in the poem make you think that?
Well, in the first sentence, it says, I like to see it left a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And then, where was the other one?
Yeah, there's the word like is there.
Yeah. And then, like, in some of the other parts of it, it's, like, not really talking bad about it, but it's not talking, like, amazing about it.
Okay. Other words that give you a positive connotation or positive feeling. Jayla.
The word, omnipotent.
Omnipotent. Everyone say omnipotent.
Omnipotent.
Again, omnipotent.
Omnipotent.
Say supercilious. It's got
Supercilious.
silly in the middle. Supercilious.
Supercilious.
And say the word prodigious. It's got dig in the middle, like digits. Prodigious.
Prodigious.
Okay, good. Sorry. Go ahead, Jayla. Omnipotent is a good thing. That's usually a positive connotation word. You're right. What other word down there near it gives you kind of a positive connotation? Docile. Yeah. Something that's tame and calm and easily led. Yeah. You like docile dogs and docile animals that are tame and gentle. Yes. Ramita.
So it's like Chloe was saying earlier, it's only like the third stanza where it's actually saying bad stuff about it, but the rest of it is just saying what it's doing. And it's
Okay.
using words like that don't mean bad stuff. So
Okay, good. So what feelings can we associate with some of these words in the poem? All the ones you just pointed out. So the ones we started with, what feelings can we associate with these things? All these people, come on. What feelings can we associate with some of the words in the poem? What emotions do some of the words or lines evoke within us, and are they positive or negative?
Some of them, like the words, like I really like to, I really like to see it flat miles. It starts curiosity on what it is.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. So there's curiosity there. Absolutely. If you like to watch something, you're usually somewhat curious about what it's doing. Melis.
It seems kind of like when it's like it must the person writing the person that like is talking about it, they must like it because they're noting every single thing it does.
You have to like something,
But they'll say that they don't like it, but they do.
Ooh, okay.
Mental health.
So what is that? What would you call that? What would you call that emotion if you are interested and you watch closely, but maybe you don't like the thing? What are some feelings that describe that that conflict within you?
interest.
Yes, maybe. Jayla. Yeah. Money. Ooh, embarrassment. Something might embarrass you. You might be interested. You might jump in and go, oh, I don't know. So that's one that definitely has both. What else can you think of? Fred was on something back there. He said it, and I don't even think he knows what he said. What did you say?
I don't remember.
I know. Darn it, I knew that was the case. You were talking, but you were right on point.
Right.
Right on point, yes.
The one where he was like,
Oh.
the
The supercilious peer or something like that.
No, that's not what I heard. I didn't hear that. You said that, I didn't hear it. Melis?
It's like clashing emotions kind of.
So what does that make you feel? When that happens, what does that make you feel? Confused. What else? Y'all are right on it. Surprised. Josephine? Frustrated.
How about conflicted?
Conflicted. Denial. Melis?
Kind of. Wait, never mind.
Okay. Josephine? Hesitant. Anxious comes to mind. And what's some things that can make you feel that way that you like to watch, but maybe you like to watch from afar? So maybe there's like this respect and admiration that's like, you might be a little scared, but you still kind of want to watch. You know what I'm talking about there? Okay, so what do you think this poem is all about? What's the it? What's the it in the poem? Talk at your table so that I want all of you that have this conversation. What is the it that the poem is about? Talk at your table. And the evidence.
I like to see you laugh the miles.
Where's that model?
Laugh the miles. I like to see you. What did I say? I'm so confused. I'm right on it. It says it feeds itself at tank and fish edges. I think it's rich people. It's rich people.
Okay, at your tables, pause. You're not done yet. You're not done. Pause. Time out.
I like to see it blow.
Time out. Very good. Now I want you to finish. Time out. I want you to, as a group, decide who's going to share out and agree upon what that person's going to say. So who's going to give the answer for your group, and what are they going to say? I want what it is and evidence. Decide as a group who's going to say what. You have 1 minute to figure it out. Okay, go.
Oh, how I said that. No. You know how I said they were in shanties and stuff like that? She said like people who are supercilious or high ego. It's rich people. Okay. If it's woke, I'm just saying it's wealthy people. I'm sticking with I will.
Alright, 10, 9,
Alright, guys.
6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, your speaker should be identified, and you should have agreed as a group on what the speaker is going to say. I want a one-word answer. What is it? What is the thing that's being watched with admiration and maybe a little dislike and fear, but causing conflict and anxiety? What is the thing? I want a one-word answer from the speaker at each table. Table 1.
Stay focused.
Some sort of animal that.
One-word answer. 2. Nope. 3.
I was thinking
Nope. 4.
Only speak if you're called on, please.
What? Why did you say that? Wait, hold up. 5. 6. 6. 6.
Move on.
7. 1.
A wolf.
2. Horse. 3.
6. You got anything now?
Those of you that said horse, why? What words in the poem made you pick horse?
It says, well, in the fourth stanza, it says nay.
Nay. And?
Lines.
And? Stable. There's nay and stable in the last stanza. What else would lead to you to think horse?
It's going downhill.
Runs downhill around a mountain, right? Up and down hills, it will run around a mountain. It'll do that. What else could make you possibly think horse? Oh, Lincoln? Before you explode.
It says that it is, that it's proud, it seems like big and,
Proud, big.
wait, I'm trying to find it. Where is it?
Be still. Be still.
The one where it's like a
Sons of Thunder. Does it hoot in horrid hooting stanzas, complain loudly, preach with a big loud preacher, Boanerges voice if it wants to? Sure.
I mean, the need to think. When it
Quickly.
says the storm stanza, whatever.
Yes.
Spit it out.
Usually in like the Bible and stuff, that's imagined as a voice.
Oh, interesting.
Or like
Melis? Yeah.
It says,
Uh-huh.
it says prompter than a star, and usually horses will stop kind of fast and
They
abruptly.
can, right?
And also,
Do they have arrogant gazes?
Yeah, and also when it said when I said borders, I thought of and when it was a horse, I thought of Percy Jackson as Aaron, which is lightning horse.
Okay, now I want to think back. I see your hands. I'm going to continue to call on you. The conversation is not over. But I told you she wrote her poems as a riddle, so, okay, it's not a horse. You're supposed to think that, and now that you're all on board, what do you think the horse is representing? And it's a riddle. Keep in mind the time frame. Okay, take a breath. In the time frame she lived from 1830 to the 1860s, what do you know about this time period in history, and what would be, look at the poem, at your tables, talk about what else this would be, what the horse would be being compared to. At your tables, talk. Someone has an idea?
You know when the Civil War started. Exactly, and guess what time it was? She lived until she was 36. 1830 to It started, no, when the Civil War started, when she died.
No, it started in 1861 and ended in 65.
Alright, it's a riddle. It's a riddle. Alright, choose a different person to share out, and I want a one-word answer from each table. Choose a person, agree on the answer. It has to be a different person. At your tables, decide who's going to say what. You have 10 seconds. Are you all decided? Yeah. Alright, cool. Table 4.
We thought about like the representation of the Civil War.
Table 5.
We thought about like the
Table 6.
We thought about like a chariot or like an automobile.
7. 1.
War.
2.
War.
3.
War.
Did I already talk to 4? Okay. There's one table that is warmer than all the rest. What does the horse do? What did the horse do in 1800s? What was its job?
It was to walk people.
What was it used for? It's a riddle for something else, representing something else.
Let me read between the lines really quick.
That's exactly what's happening, Fred. Does it hurt your brain a little bit? It should. Jayla?
It was like because they fought.
No, it's not war. It's not, The horse is in conflict with something. There is something in conflict here that is scary and admirable.
Fred.
She could see it from her window, for sure. What else would lap the miles up, chase itself downhill, step around a pile of mountains? In the same way that a horse would.
Okay, hey guys, everybody relax.
Okay, talk at your tables because you're too excited.
No! Think about it. You see the dog chasing itself around the hill. Just look. It's chasing itself around the hill. You know, exactly. It's chasing itself. Dogs try to get their tail.
Fred, a wheel chases a
Exactly.
a wheel.
Yep. Not a wheel. We have wheels in the 1830s. She made a poem in the 1800s. Why would she? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
The wheel on a car.
This is the 1800s.
Fred, so in the 1800s, horses didn't work there.
Exactly right. represent a car because cars were just being made.
I know, but it's just no, but Fred, cars were admirable, but it was kind of scary because they were taking horses out. Had his own stable door. Faster than a car stop. They could have stopped like that.
Let's just say automobile. Let's just not car.
I'm pretty sure it's a car.
If it's not a car, just say automobile.
2,
Just say automobile.
1. Let's see what kind of answers we come up with. Table 7.
Got transportation.
Table 1. Table 2. Good answer. 3. What? Table 4. Table 5. Table 6. Madeline? You said it.
Repeat it.
We said it.
You didn't give the right answer, so your turn is spent. Ladies? They said it and I walked away.
Did a lip syncing.
Did you say more? You said more. How about I give you a hint? Are you ready?
Yes, please.
It's points.
Okay, hey guys.
Bro, you don't let me go.
That's right. So those of you that said transportation. Did you say train? No. Yes, you did.
Well, you said automobile.
So I heard automobile, carriage, transportation. You're exactly right. In the middle of the 1800s.
Ashley, you are dismissed.
Okay, so now that we've uncovered the riddle, I want you to look back at the poem and I want you to see if you can find where the clues are to discover this is the railroad. It's the train. It's coming in. It's the mid-1800s. I was in your classroom.
Okay.
Yes, Liam. Yes, Liam. Yes, Liam. Yes, I want you to look back over the poem, think about the history you learned about the mid-1800s when Emily Dickinson would have been looking out her window. What is she seeing? What is replacing what? Where are the clues that tell you that it's the train, the railroad? Okay, I want you to have a couple minutes to have a conversation. If I call on you one at a time, 1 out of 25 gets to participate. If I let you talk at your tables, you all get to talk a whole lot more. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes and I want you to go find the evidence that solves the riddle, okay? Go.
And stop repeating self tanks. Trains have tanks like the gas tanks. So why does she have riddles inside of riddles? Like it doesn't. Complaining all the while. Where you know when trains go whoo whoo or something like that? Hooting stanza. And then it chases it. How does a train chase it?
Because of the little shows the like the container like on the train. They're chasing one.
Remember when trains had polo moon like in the Polish Express?
It's not.
Hey, no, it wasn't you. You under there.
Okay, so did you find, we're not gonna share out. Did you find it, yes or no? Do you see it now? Do you see it chasing itself downhill?
Yes.
Liam went straight to the shanties by the side of the road. It was post-war. There were new African Americans who had just been freed from slavery. They were trying to make homes, and it was a period where the railroad is coming in. It is in conflict with the horse. Did you talk about why the railroad would have been in conflict with the horse? Why it's a strong comparison? And you said the change in the transportation. You guys were getting there with the transportation, so that was really, really good. Okay, so we're going to take a brief time out from analyzing the poem to make sure you know what all the parts are on the wheel. What setting? You have a notes side. You have one side that's notes and one for the poem. What setting? Natalia, what setting? No, just review what it is before we answer it. What is setting?
Setting the time and the place.
Good. What is into what is mood. Mood and tone. I listen. I majored in English. I went through AP IB classes in high school. I've taught English for 12 to 15 years, depending on how you count what. And I always have to look up mood and tone. Which is which? What is mood? Betty? No. Tell me what mood is. Don't tell me the mood of the poem. Tell me what it is as a literary device.
The setting.
No. Okay, it's how the reader feels. The reader's feeling when they read something is the mood.
It puts you in a mood.
What's the mood the reader gets from reading the piece?
That's how I remember.
Yes.
That's what we had.
What are symbols?
Yep, that's right.
In a literary analysis, because that's what this is, what is the definition of a symbol in a text? Kylie. I was going to say Chloe, and I'm like, she's over here.
I do it all the
Sorry.
time.
Good.
For 2 years.
And you've even split them up, Kylie.
It's sort of like foreshadowing, showing you, it's like showing you what this represents.
Representation, thank you. It is representation, it's abstract meanings, right? So it can be names, objects, places that represent other things. Good, good, good.
Like a cross would be for Christianity, like the Star of David is for Judaism.
Yes. What would you
Social
notice about a
studies,
character when you read a text? If you're going to analyze a text, what are the things you notice about characters? What's important about characters in a text? They're what? Jayla?
Their feelings,
Yep, what else?
how they look,
Yep, what else?
what they're saying,
Yep, what else?
How they
Values, motives, thoughts, actions, maybe even their names if there's more than one you want to talk about, right? She hit right on it. Very good. All right, what is language, structure, and style? What are the things you notice to fill out this portion of the wheel? Language, structure, and style. What does that mean? I love those of you that are scribbling down notes really fast. I know that I'm going fast because I want to get to the good discussion, but I just interrupted. Those of you that are writing nothing might be doing it wrong. I'm just saying. But that's between you and your teacher over there. I'm only here to make suggestions. What might you look for or notice if you wanted to take notes on language, structure, and style? Betty.
A way to describe things.
The way they describe things. What's that called? Do what? What? Kind of? Okay. I'm glad we are reviewing this. Okay. Figurative language, which would be your metaphors and your similes and your alliteration and your hyperbole and your sound devices, imagery, connotations, dialect, if a character has an accent. Can y'all see this?
You should be writing.
Yeah, can you say that?
Yes, I will. Actually, what I'm going to do is get it all up here, and then I'm going to shush. Writer's style.
I'll take a picture and send it to you
I can
too.
leave this too.
Okay.
Sentence structure, organization of the text, word choice. So the standout things there, okay? All of those things are language, style, and structure. I'm going to say it again. So these 2.5 blocks of wall space, if you are sitting and doing nothing right now with your pencil, you are doing it wrong. You're wrong. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing if you're not writing right now.
Kimani,
Notice I did not make
you should
eye
be writing.
contact with anybody when I said that. What's plot? What's this? What's this?
What is
pyramid. A plot pyramid.
What's next? What are the parts of it? Exposition. And what's conflict in a story?
person versus nature, something like that.
Yes.
Person versus himself.
Yes. The problem, right? The problem in the text. So,
Okay, listen.
yes, person versus person, person versus self, man versus nature, man versus society. You could even be society versus society, technology versus nature. I don't know. There's lots. Well, that's really fuzzy. How come you're not telling me
It's really fuzzy.
Oh, thank you. There's a focus button on that. Okay.
Yeah.
There is
So-
really no way.
External conflicts.
So I just drew this because I know
You
that
just messed up my whole
internal and
year.
external conflicts, and there's all those different varieties, right? Okay, so what is
Get it?
tone?
Joke.
What's
Nobody got
tone,
it.
Bernita?
The way the author
Yes, that's right. The author's attitude about the text. Is it positive, negative, neutral? The author's attitude, right? Positive, negative, neutral, and then how do you know? All right, coming up, saving the middle one for last. What's point of view? Caleb? What's point of view? I mean, you can. I'm just trying to help you. It's the narrator, right? And how they're telling you the story. Is the narrator in the story with an I, a first person point of view? Is the narrator outside the story looking in, saying he did this, she did that, they did this? Third person? And there's those three kinds down there. But it's the perspective, whose perspective you're getting, right? And then theme. And do not tell me the topic. Do not tell me the subject. That is wrong. What's theme? Josiah. I can't hear you. Amen. Oh my gosh. Everybody give him some snap. Give him extra. Give him 2 for that.
I can't snap with timer on my hand.
Hallelujah. Yes. The message. The lesson learned that relate the message that relates to the real world. Okay? Alright, now I'm gonna shut up. And I'm gonna give you a couple minutes. Okay?
So it's going to be silent in the room
Yes.
while
Take a
you
few
process.
minutes. If you are done and you feel good about your notes, then you may flip your paper over and start looking at your poem and taking some notes on these things on the blank wheel on the back. Okay? So we're going to be quiet for what, 3 or 4 minutes? Is that enough? Okay? So one side is for notes, the other side is then to look at the poem and fill out things. Like, what's the setting of the poem? Who are the characters? What are the symbols? What's the important language? What's the conflict? Okay. So Carson, can you set me a timer so that I don't interrupt them?
Yes.
I'll work. We're not going to get to the good stuff. Give them, you tell me, how much time do they need to?
Notes or for the starting poem?
You both. Till 40?
Yeah.
Okay. You have 7 minutes. Give Josiah another one. With no in there. Holy moly.
So finish your notes, study through them, then begin to apply that wheel to the poem.
Sound devices. Imagery. Connotation. Dialect. Writer's dialect. Writer's style. Sentence structure. Organization of text. Can't read my children's Spanish. So filling out this wheel, you can't do it wrong unless you just make stuff up. And don't confuse the history of the author with what's actually in the poem. So we don't necessarily know for sure that Emily Dickinson is the I in the poem. She could be writing a character instead of herself. So
But one tends to want to feel like it is.
I mean, and so she could be, I mean, I could write a poem about that starts with I that wouldn't necessarily be about me, right? So it could be a character, and so don't make that automatic assumption. Now,
That's a good point because
it's pretty clear
it's hard.
in this case.
It's easy
hard
to do
not
that.
to.
Yeah.
Her I was usually her, but it's not told in the poem, so you can't know it for sure. So use what's given. Okay?
But can you also look at it like she leaves it for interpretation of both ways?
Yeah, you can. It could be her, but also keep in mind that you don't know that for sure.
But maybe she leaves it that way on purpose so you can go both ways.
That's right. Then that's the conversation. That's the beauty of analyzing the poem is that you can go a bunch of different directions with that.
Right.
Wouldn't it be someone that was in the U.S. though, because it was the continental railroad?
Well, does it tell you that in there? I love where your brain's at, Mellis. This poem, this is why poetry is the best and the worst. It's the best and the worst. Yes, ma'am. Totally.
Well, I have a question.
You're a smart one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was, but I'm glad you put that. And there's also been married for years. But that's not really super important. What do you have there?
You're a something one. I say Mr. Grinch.
This is my talk show.
Walk up to my mom. You're a nice one. This is how I relax.
Those words make you feel so those are the ones that you pull out. Because then makes you that hurt. Right.
I don't know.
Okay,
That's a compliment.
so
She's a
you
hawk.
want, is lunch 45? What is
Incredible.
lunch?
Yeah, we need to leave in like 3 minutes.
Okay, so let me
Hey, whoa, listen.
That's good for right now. So let me show you where this is headed. I should have told you that it was gonna be like, we needed the full hour. Where this is headed is now that we understand and we've looked at this, is looking at questions like this. What are the consequences of the train's actions? Nope, we don't have time. We're just showing you where it's going. What message is Dickinson relating to her audience regarding the train's role in nature? What evidence supports that the train is more powerful than nature or humans? What evidence in the poem supports that humans have more power than the train? What does the poem teach us about the power of change? And I saw change in the theme spot in several papers. I like that. What does the poem teach us about the power of technology? So this is where we get into really analyzing. What is it saying and how do you know? And then when we draw the arrows on our wheel, look, how does the character interact with the setting to develop the theme? How does Dickinson's tone help shape the theme? How does the figurative language enhance the use of the symbolism? What's the symbolism in the poem? The comparison is the symbolism of what is what. The train is being compared to a horse. So the iron horse was one of the original names given to the railroad. Oh yeah, there it is, right?
Johnson taught you that last year.
So in quotes, put iron horse in your symbolism section right now so remember to think about iron horse.
Symbolism, iron horse, write it.
And then
Oprah, right.
ultimately, here's the big idea of reflection. After we
Write
discuss,
it, Oprah, hurry, come on.
after we discuss all these things and we make the connections on our wheel, so what are the concepts? What broad statement can you make about them? What insight on life is provided in this text? How does it relate to us? And this is where I got with the other classes, and I had them pick one of those questions to answer using evidence from the poem. But we're not there. And then you could even finish with the debate. Does technology help or hurt us?
Well, that's great.
Which is exactly the debate that is presented in this poem. You are straying away from one thing to a new thing, and how do people react to that? Still relevant today. Okay.
And the
so-
growing pains associated with progress, quote, progress.
So, that is
awesome.
where we are. I'm sorry we did not finish. I will say that is 100% my fault. I should have told Mr. Parsons that I needed an hour and 5 minutes. I needed your 70 minutes, not your 50 minutes. We would have gotten there. I'm sorry to leave you hanging because this is obviously the best part. That's my fault. I apologize. Do not take it out on him. That is 100% my fault. I did not pick up for the time that I needed. So,
Okay,
I apologize.
so can we place those back in the wire basket? Wait, before you do,
Make sure your name's on both.
I need your name on both
Both.
pieces of paper.
I know you're not allowed to Megan Thee Stallion sisters.
Because what the people do on the train when they show they have like the access to the train.
Okay, hey guys, let's stop.
It's like